Hey guys, it's Absolacario2213 here again with episode 7 of Did You Know Pokemon Facts, Trivia and Mysteries. Let's get started. Number 1! Burger King Pokemon Container Recall. Did you know that in 1999 and the year 2000, Burger King and the Consumer Product Safety Commission held an effort to recall plastic Pokeball toys in the US after they were determined to be a suffocation hazard? It was actually one of the largest and most expensive recalls in history. Burger King released a set of 57 Pokemon toys measuring about 3 inches in a $22 million promotion, which were contained in round Pokeball containers. They were meant to be included with the kids' meals and last about 8 weeks from November to December. However, there was a number of disturbing incidences that occurred due to these toys, such as a 13-month-old girl in California who suffocated on the container in December 11, 1999. She was found in her playpen dead with half the ball covering her nose and mouth. Burger King issued a statement to parents that they should take the containers away from children ages 3 and younger and should be thrown away or returned to Burger King, where they may be redeemed for a free small order of French fries. According to Burger King spokesperson Charles Nicholas, more than 25 million containers were included in the recall. Because the item was part of the cost of the kids' meals, many parents did not return the containers to Burger King. A $1 million recall campaign was initiated by Burger King, which included television advertisements and warnings on takeout bags and tray liners from their restaurants. More than 100,000 notices and flyers were sent out to healthcare providers and sites frequented by Pokemon fans. Despite the campaign, less than half of the 25 million containers were returned. According to a Burger King spokesperson, Burger King had destroyed more than 22.5 million undistributed containers and more than 500,000 returned containers by December 2000. Research was done on the recall, which showed that amongst customers who did not respond to the recall, 60% had thrown the containers away, which is considered an effective recall. Number 2! Pokemon gender differences. Some species of Pokemon have differences in appearance due to their gender in the Pokemon world, with noticeable differences between the male and females. With the exception of the differences between male and female Nidoran, gender differences were introduced in Generation 4. In Pokemon Diamond, Pearl and Platinum, in the gate to Canalave City, Professor Rollick's assistant upgrades a player's Pokédex to be able to display the images for both genders of a species. In subsequent games, they are displayed from the start. Pokemon with gender differences are quite unique, but some of the differences can be very subtle and others can be very noticeable. There are 23 Pokemon in the first generation with gender differences, such as Venusaur, with the female's flower having a seed on it. 22 in Generation 2, with the female Wobbuffet wearing lipstick. 18 in the third generation, with Cacturne and the female version having a large spike on her chest, as opposed to the male who has 2 regular spikes. 31 in Generation 4, with possibly the most obvious difference in Generation 4 being Hippopotas and Hippowdon's patterns and colours being completely different. Only 3 in the 5th generation with Unpheasant, Frillish and Jellicent with extremely noticeable dissimilarities, and a mere 2 in Generation 6 being Pyroar and Meowstic with significant changes. Number 3! Pokemon Chance or Luck. In a vast majority of Pokemon games, you have the chance of finding a wild shiny Pokemon, a Pokemon infected with Pokerust, winning the lottery and even spotting Mirage Island. But is it really based on chance or is it luck? The Pokemon Lottery Corner is a feature in the Generation 2, 3, 4 and 5 core series games that gives the player a periodic opportunity to receive a reward for owning a Pokemon with a certain OTID number. Each day, or each week in Generation 2, a random ID number is generated. If the player has a Pokemon with the same or similar ID, they will receive a prize. In order for a Pokemon's ID to be eligible for an award, 1 or more consecutive corresponding digits of the Pokemon's ID and the random ID must be the same, starting from the rightmost digit. For example, if the current lottery number is 12345, a Pokemon with the ID 12340 will not win, and the one with the ID 12305 will win for matching only the last digit, except in Generations 2 and 3, which do not give rewards for matching only one digit. Even if the player resets the game, the number for that day will still be the same. Some prizes include Moo Moo Milk, PP Up, XP Share, Rare Candy, and even a Master Ball. So lottery does pretty much rely on luck and chance, but shiny Pokemon on the other hand, that's a combination of luck, chance, and a whole lot of numbers. From Generation 2, shininess is determined by the IVs of a Pokemon. If a Pokemon's speed, defense, and special IVs are all 10, and its attack IV is 2, 3, 6, 7, 10, 11, 14, or 15, it will be shiny. So in a wild encounter, the probability of a Pokemon's IV lining up to the said numbers is 1 out of 8,192. However, in Generation 3, most of the data structures were completely overhauled. Starting from this generation, Pokemon's shininess is no longer linked to any of its other stats. Instead, shininess is determined by a calculation involving the original trainer's ID number and secret ID number, as well as a Pokemon's personality value. Here's the exact calculation to determine a Pokemon's shininess, which I'll not even attempt to decipher. This gives an overall probability of 8 out of 65,536, or 1 out of 8,192. Exactly the same as the Generation 2. Other factors can reduce this probability down either a little or quite significantly, like chaining Pokemon with the Poké-Radar, introduced in the 4th generation, or the Matsuda method, using a shiny charm, or even catching Pokemon in the Friend Safari. There's so many factors that can contribute to your gaming experience. And whether it's your lucky day, or you've been playing a game for 12 hours straight, you still might not even see a shiny Pokemon, or win a Master Ball. But if you do, make sure you cherish that moment. Number 4! Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Here are some interesting facts about the newest Pokemon games. In all territories except Europe, these games were released on the 12th anniversary of the Japanese release of Ruby and Sapphire. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are the only pair of remakes where the game's names are not written in camel case, there are no location previews, the remakes are indirectly compatible with the original games, as Pokemon from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire can be transferred to Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire through various forms of intergenerational communication, an accessory is not bundled with the games, there are no available HMs that were introduced after the generation of the original games, and no new female protagonists are introduced. Spoiler alert! Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire currently offers the greatest number of in-game starter Pokemon with 4, one from Hoenn, one from Johto, one from Sinnoh, and one from Unova, exceeding the 3 offered in numerous games before. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire currently offers the greatest number of in-game legendary Pokemon, with a total of 32 between both games. Number 5! Pokemon consoles. Throughout the evolution of Nintendo consoles, there have been a plethora of special and limited edition consoles distributed around the world, and out of these systems, a large amount of Pokemon themed consoles have been released. From the Pikachu Nintendo 64, with variations of colours and designs, all the way to the Nintendo 3DS XL, with Pikachu, Charizard, Eevee, Xerneas, and Yveltal featured on them. It would be a collector's dream to own all of these consoles. There's a classic Game Boy with a yellow edition that also came in clear green and clear blue, a Pikachu and Pichu edition coming in yellow, silver, and gold, a 3rd anniversary edition, and even a silver Pokemon Center GS edition. There's these amazing GameCubes that I wish I had, which came out due to XD Gale of Darkness and the Pokemon Channel games. And in my opinion, the coolest special editions were the Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Advance SPs, with these awesome designs. Look at these, and these, and this! I would absolutely love to own the Rayquaza, Groudon, and Kyogre Game Boy Advance SPs. There's even a Pikachu Game Boy Micro, a Pokepark DS, and a Mew DS, plus all of these awesome DS Lites. Most of these were only released in Japan though, and of course the most recent being the DSi and 3DSs. I'm proud to say that I do own the blue 3DS XL, which I love. Which of these consoles do you own or wish you owned? Well, that concludes episode 7 of Did You Know Pokemon? Facts, Trivia and Mysteries. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more Pokemon related content. Thank you so much for watching and see you later.